I have a dream where the powerful and the powerless will sit at the same table, where the haves will see the have-nots, not as burdens, but as brothers, where class will not divide us, but conviction will unite us. I have a dream that the oligarchs will remember we must all eat, that the brown-faced neo-colonialists will remember who they are and whose they are. I have a dream that fraternities will build beyond internal architecture into a national bond, that the walls of design will give way to the bridges of brotherhood, not a fraternity of symbol, but a brotherhood of substance. I have a dream that we remain focused, that we stay in our conviction and remain fearless, that we double down, fortified, to return this Bahamaland to the foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is The Foundation with Howard Grant. A beautiful day. Grateful to be in your company. It is a Monday out here in the city. Hope you guys are good. I hope you see what we got going on. We got some things going on. And we're bringing people to, kind of be able to sit with us. A very good friend who's been here with us for a long time and always been able to kind of give us good information, not only about the IMOP, but more specifically about China. We've been hearing a lot about China and how China's been doing some stuff. And so today we're going to find out more about that. And sitting in the studio with me is none other than Antonio Lorenzo Bullitt. Mr. Bullitt, my brother, it is so wonderful to see you today. Say good afternoon to the people out there.
Good afternoon, Bahamas, and a happy and a prosperous new year to each and every one of you out there. God bless each and every one of you also.
Listen, man, it's a wonderful thing, and I know today you're going to be talking to us about what's going on in China. This is sort of an exciting time for us just to be able to hear about that and talk about what's going on in China. As the world continues to be able to shift, a lot of persons trying to be able to figure out more, the alternative for some things that can be able to happen as it relates to shopping, as it relates to moving around, as it relates to being able to get the import, as it relates to being able to get those great prices. Talk to me what's happening in China.
Well, it's that time of year. It's almost that time of year, really. We're always planning to go to China twice a year, and we're here to promote that and let people know that, hey, we're still alive, we're still kicking, and we're still taking people to China.
Well, talk to me about it. Now, I know there's 2 times a year that you go to China. There is April and there's October,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
So April's coming up.
April is coming up. It's right
Yeah.
around the corner, if you want to say that.
So talk to me about that. A lot of persons have actually been going. I know that you have a great deal of success and have a lot of persons being able to come down. How was this most recent one? I know that you were going over. I heard from you. And Omar's not here with us. Omar normally is here with us. So we hope that everything's well and being able to see him come and sit with us and talk to us about China again. How was the last trip? Talk to me about that. How did it go? How was persons sort of the post-op for them to say, man, listen, this is a wonderful time. We had a good time.
Every trip we do is exciting. Every trip people benefit from, and I wish they would come and let the whole country know how fortunate they were by going to China and accomplishing so much, but some people are shy, they want to keep to themselves. They said, I got mine, you go get yours. But I wish they would come and tell the people, hey, guess what? I went to China, I got this done, these guys are legit, whatever they promised me, they delivered on it, and that's what we do. We promise. We've been doing this for over 20 years, and we're promising you an exciting time when we take you to China, take you shopping, take you to different cities, take you to different markets, and also, first and foremost, we take you to the trade show where you could walk around and see new products. Man, I'm telling you, I'm so excited.
They said
when
that
I go.
building is humongous.
Yes, and it's getting bigger and bigger every year. It's getting more exciting and more exciting every year. Right now with the robots taking over, per se, You know,
Oh, no, you can't say it like that. People scared. The robots taking over. Oh, my God.
but when you really look at it, if you ask anybody if they would want to have a robot maid or a robot this, they tell you, yeah, they would like to have one. So when you go down there, you'll be able to see a robot dog that you could run you down and jump on you. It's a whole different. When you go there, you'll be amazed by what you see and what is affordable for you to get.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to be able to be a part of this to find out exactly how you can be able to go to China. Now, you've been doing some stuff and telling persons how they can be able to get there. How is that? How can we find out more about being able to travel to China and make some things happen? Because this is like the trip of a lifetime for a great deal of persons.
Yes,
right?
it is. Yes, it really is.
Some of them never get, they never been to Abaco. My God.
You ain't lying.
I never been to Abaco. Right? And you talking about China? Yeah, there's a lot of persons being able to do. So tell them what they could expect as they go there.
This is basically for the entrepreneur or the person who wants to get into business, for themselves. And there is so much at the trade show that you could get into business by seeing that product and say, guess what? I could make this happen. Or if you already have an idea or you're already in business, and you say, I want to go and see how best I can improve my business, come go with us. I guarantee you will improve your business tenfold, 50-fold.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to be able to be a part of that and find out more about how you can be able to ensure that your business is taken care of. Now, normally when he comes on here on a Tuesday or a Thursday, we normally have a good conversation about the possibility of being able to sitting down at Fusion and getting some things done. Let's see if that's the date. Are we doing that today?
No, that wouldn't be today.
Oh, not today.
Not today, and it won't be this week because I'm traveling tomorrow. I'm going to Freeport, so it won't be till next week. And we will be back on the show next week.
When you're going to be having that kind of opportunity for persons to be able to come and sit with you to find out more about how they can be able to find out about China?
But they could call me.
Oh, give me numbers.
455-9978. And I'll also give you my partner's number, Omar Smith. His number is 427-0930. 455-9978. 427-0930. You can call us, and I'll be able to tell you when we're having our next meeting. The next meeting is next week. We're not having any meeting this week because I'm traveling to Freeport to do some business. So when I come back, and I'm not coming back till Friday. So I'm going to Freeport to do some business.
It's good business in Freeport.
Yeah, man.
You're going to buy the hotel.
All they got to do is lease it to me.
I had to do it.
Give me a
If they can
50-year
lease it to
lease.
you for that $1.
Yeah, give me a 50-year lease, and I'll turn it around within.
Just like that.
Yeah, I can. I know I would.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, find out more about it. Lorenzo's here being able to tell us about what's happening in China. It's always an exciting time. I know you guys are exhausted from me being able to always punctuate this and say, well, I've been to China almost, right? I've been to China almost. And so I know you will hear me say that no more. But we've been to China. We had an opportunity to be able to do a great deal of things. The trip was wonderful. The camaraderie in terms of being able to be with persons who are all on the same sort of excitement level to see some things happen really changed the way how you view it, to be able to travel with people who carry the same enthusiasm, the same experiences, to know that you haven't seen this the same way they haven't seen this, but you're trusted with some persons who've been here before. Now, there's a lot of persons who say, well, I've done this before. Well, anybody get into China. And people just look at you and say things like, well, if he's doing it, I can do it too. And, right off the bat, they want to take you to China. Never been nowhere other than one time they've been in the People Airport. Now they're traveling with you. There's a tour guide. Stop it. 20-some years experience sitting here, being able to go to China. Relationships, you've already had those particular things. You know exactly what's what in terms of who's traveling where, how they're doing what. You already know these things. You know who to go to, where to go, how you can get something done, how to ship these things. I think it's best to go with you.
Yeah, because let me explain something to you, Howard. I ain't gonna blow our horn. We've been doing this for over 25 years. We teach you the ins and outs of China. we take you to cities that you can do business with. We take you to Shenzhen. That's the tech capital of China. Phones, everything electronic is made in Shenzhen. Okay, we take you there for a day, shop till you drop, take you back home. All of this is included in your price. We take you to different markets. All of that is included in your price. Your breakfast is included, your hotel is included, your airfare is included, your transportation to and from the airport is included. We also, our shipping, logistics, if you want it. Omar has his logistic company. I have my logistic company in China. Just tell us, hey, I need this ship. Call us, say, I need this ship. We will get it done. I have a gentleman right now who owns a particular business. When his machines went down, they're charging him an arm and a leg to get it out of the U.S. He called me, said, how can you help me? I just paid for the whole shipping yesterday. So we're going to have that shipping coming down in the next couple of months.
Now, while he's sitting here telling me about these things, I'm thinking about some stuff that I need for my business too. Now, he and Omar know I can talk to them. I got to get some things. We in business.
Yeah.
We in business, ladies and gentlemen, so we need to be able to get some stuff. And what happened is that in business, a lot of persons start this off, and I think this is where mom and pop businesses fall off. You started off trying to be able to get the door open, but what happened is that you find yourself keep doing the same thing for a year, 2 years, and you haven't seen the level of profit. You got to get into the ownership space. So what you've been leasing, you should be owning. What you've been using, you should be owning. And that's one of the things that we want to do also. We've been printing our papers externally for a long time. Now it's time for us to be able to get our own print press. Yeah, these are the things I'm saying to you, not for the purposes of knowing my business, but for the purposes of making you to understand that you've been renting this space, or you've been renting this building, or you've been renting this kind of a thing. Whatever you've been doing that's causing you to be able to chip away at your bottom line to take care of somebody else, you can do that and find an affordable product, come on, talk to me, in China. I've seen some great stuff.
Yes. Right now I have a container coming in on the 16th of February. That has a whole bunch of stuff in it. And I do windows and doors and all that sort of stuff. But that is coming in on the 16th of February. And we have some other stuff coming on that. I'm not going to stress that right now. I'm going to come back to you and talk about what all we have in that container for sale. Let me tell you something, people. You know, I know a lot of you want to own the mom and pop shop. I may not be saying it right. You want to own that little shop. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want you to come up with an idea, like I did, and said, guess what? Can we make this in China? And can I bring it back here and sell it? Yes, you can. We can help you do that. We can.
You know, I've seen some things. I see a lot of people, my son, he want do shirts, and he want do, well, this was maybe about 3 years ago, right? He never moved on it, but he want print shirts and put all kind of fresh designs on it and different art pieces and this and that. And Daddy, we're going to get a press machine. We're going to get a press for shirts. And we're going to get this, and we're going to get, oh, that's too expensive. China has all of these things. In fact, they could actually mass produce your stuff and you send it over there. All these clothes that you just buy seasonally, my God, I don't get nobody business.
Don't.
All these clothes which you just buy seasonally, there is a space in China that they send it over, they produce it, and they sell it over here. They send it back over here, and you get, that's where you get the production from. That's where you all go groveling for those particular things. Nobody even have to be in China to get that done. You can do it in the comforts of your own home once you could be able to have that, and especially having someone like Omar and Lorenzo, Antonio being able to be here with you to help you, to guide you through those things is a wonderful thing. And I got to encourage you to do that because I know that you want to get business done. Now, listen to me. Lorenzo told me 4 months ago, he said, Howard, I got to get your windows, the windows for this, my place. I get your windows. It'll be here in a couple of weeks or whatever the case may be, in a month or two. So I said, oh, no, I need it now. You're laughing at me.
I got to laugh.
Because month or two come and I still wasn't ready yet, right? But I had to go rushing around to pick up the windows right here locally. But set yourself up in a position where you could be able to think long term, get those particular things done, and move forward.
Well, Howard, let me explain something to you. You know, everything is season.
Yeah,
Everything is season.
yeah.
I've been doing windows and doors now for a little while. I'm not going to lie to you, I had one incident, and it wasn't a bad incident. It's just that individual wanted tomorrow. The price I'm giving you, it's going to take a while because I go through every detail with you concerning your project. Okay? When your product reach, I guarantee you're going to be satisfied with it. The price is going to be right, and you're going to be satisfied with the product. But right now, Howard, I have 2 more shipments of windows and doors coming in, and I'm giving it up.
Really?
Yeah, I'm giving it up.
That's the biggest thing, I figure.
No, that ain't the biggest thing, man, Howard. See, Howard, let me tell you something. I tell people this, but people think I talk in foolishness. Howard, you go to China, you are going to come across something that is going to it's going to skyrocket you in the atmosphere. And that's what I've done. I found a product, and that's what we're doing. You have the product already.
Of course.
Okay, how is that product working?
Excellent.
Okay, we already sold out.
Excellent.
You have a shipment coming in on the 16th of next month, and that's basically done gone. So we're placing another major big order to come in another couple of months. So you see, everybody, I'm also in the car business, and I don't want to come here and talk about this, but I want to show you something, Howard. I'm in the car business and in the tire business, you know that. And people, the minute they see you making money with cars and tires, they jump on a bandwagon.
Everybody.
Yeah, so the market gets saturated.
Everybody,
So
yeah.
I went ahead and developed something that is going to take you basically years to catch me. It ain't no windows and doors no more. It ain't cars and tires no more. You understand me? So that's where you need to think, people. Because people will copy you, and there's nothing wrong with copy, because when somebody copy you, that means that that product is working. That means the price has to drop, and I like when prices drop. I like competition. So there ain't nothing wrong with
Well,
that.
competition is healthy.
And you have an
Competition is
idea.
good.
God has given you an idea. And I have to say this, God has given you an idea. Now it's time for you to put that idea to work,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And you could meet manufacturers who will work with you and say, guess what? I need me 5,000 units. How much is it going to cost me to get 5,000 units? But let's say this now. You go over there, you made an arrangement with a manufacturer, no matter what it is. You could pick up things, let's say, you know something? I paid $4,000 for my trip. I paid $5,000 for my trip. I paid $5,500 for my trip. Let me take these things back to sell, to make up for the monies that I already spent. Yeah, it's expensive. If it was easy, if it wasn't hard, everybody would be doing it. I have this joke I say, Howard. If you come to me and tell me that you found a pot of gold, and I ask you where, and you tell me I could go to hell and bring that back, I go to hell and bring that back. That was I could come back. But I'm using hell as an example. But I would go to China on that flight.
You ain't gonna make it out.
Well, I ain't going to do that.
Okay,
well,
good for yourself.
I'll go to China and come back with the product and products that I need to make me and my family life better.
I think China does that. China has given us a great opportunity to be able to see some stuff. I know a lot of persons have been skeptical. I mean, over the years, maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, there was this sort of a concept and idea, especially coming out of America, that the products were inferior.
Now, somehow, I'm not going to lie to you.
Some of these are cheap and, flimsy and fall apart. I never forget, I purchased a Hyundai car, right? Years ago, right? And, the door handles with dry rot or these particular things happen. And in my mind, it equated to that particular product or the caliber of that product, or this come from China. This is the conditioning.
But it didn't come from China, though.
This is the conditioning that we got out of America. Of course, it didn't come from China,
Yeah,
right?
it came from
Right.
either Japan or someplace else.
So Now, when we see strong products, when we see persons being able to talk to us about those things, when we see something that we're satisfied with, and we're
BYD,
looking at that,
that vehicle,
it blowing our minds.
Okay.
Top of the line.
okay,
Top of the
the
line.
G, that's from China. That vehicle's from China. That ain't from Japan. They make that in Shenzhen. You see?
Top of the line stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And so this is what it is. You got to be able to figure these things out, figure out what you want, make a determination how you can get these particular things done. I can let Lorenzo give you his number one more time. We can find out exactly what's what. And so when you coming back with me next week?
Well, as soon as I get back from Freeport, I would call you, and we would make some more arrangements.
When we come back next week, I'm sure we're going to be able to have some more information to find out exactly what's what as it relates to being able to see where the meeting will be held. I know a lot of persons are kind of eager for it. Let's say you've been saving up for the past 2 years. Guys, don't look at this as a sacrifice. Look at this as an investment. You got to start to invest into your future.
Of course. And also, we have a payment plan. We give you the bank account
Hold on,
number.
but you ain't come here and tell me nothing but no early bird special.
No, we're not doing
You know,
any early bird special.
You know,
No.
I be looking, I trying to work with you.
I
I
know
try
you're
to
trying
work with these
me.
people.
There's no more early bird
I
special.
did not missing me and these fellas out here, all us, my brothers and sisters out here, we trying to get a little early bird special. He ain't into that. He ain't into no early bird special. But no, man, don't look at this as a sacrifice or, you know, as the luxury something. It is crucial, especially if you're a young entrepreneur. I think a lot of entrepreneurs need to be able to take this trip. I think that's a trip that you need to set up.
Yeah, we also have
Entrepreneurs.
we also have people who've been with us 2 and 3 times. You know, they know they way there, but they say, you know something, I prefer to go with you guys.
Yeah, you got to go with your crew.
And say, you know something? We got people, the minute they get there, they know where to go. They know where to go eat. They know where they're going, but they just want to travel with us. They like the friendship. They like the camaraderie that me and Omar, you know, presenting them. They like their travel. I mean, the shipping arrangements that we make with them and how we could get their stuff over to Hong Kong and get it on the plane. And we let you know all of that. We let you know everything there is. And that's why we are repeat customers who go with us 3 times.
You got to be able to come and find out more information about this, how you can get down there, how you can make some things happen, how you can be able to ensure that you're on that train for growth and development. We're here in that 2026 as we roll into this year. This is going to be a strong year. We already see that it's starting to, listen, let's just be decent with this. It started with a bang in Venezuela. It started with a bang. And so as we look at these things, we don't know what this year will yield for the Caribbean, what this year would yield for our relationship, what was going on in America. We don't know. All we must do within ourselves is be prepared.
Of course.
And this is preparation.
Of course.
You're going over there to identify a product that is, listen, we are a consumer society. So if there's a demand and you provide that to society, they will consume that.
Of course.
They will consume that. And so find yourself in the position that you can be able to make those things happen and find out more about what's going on. Lorenzo, tell us one more time your numbers so persons can be able to know exactly what's what.
Okay, Omar number is 427-0930, 427-0930, and my number 455-9978, 455-9978. So call us, let us know that you're interested in going, and we'll let you know more about it. You know, some people called me last week and said, I heard you on the radio. I said, no, you didn't hear me on the radio. You didn't hear. But I heard somebody saying China. I said, yes, we have. I said, oh, that's somebody else taking people to China. You know, that's not me. So I'm happy that she called and some other people called and said, okay, give us some more information.
Well, once it becomes lucrative and they see that you can make a couple of dollars from it, or they see this is something like an adventure, people can take on the task.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
If it's 4 units in one plaza and I selling chicken in my side over here, and you see I doing well, somebody else will sell chicken in the same plaza.
Yeah,
That's unfortunate, but that's what it is.
yeah,
But that doesn't time he was down there.
yeah.
Yeah. That wasn't our first time there, but it was a beautiful trip and being able to do those things. So I know they're trying to convince me to go back again. Who knows? 2026 might be the year.
I'm praying, Howard. I'm praying.
Hey, Jesus. But it ain't going to be now. It can be in October because we got to do some things. You got to set some groundwork and do some stuff like that. But if it works out, we're looking to be able to do it. And guys, if you're sitting down home, if you're sitting in your own spaces, you're listening in, and you want to make a determination of how do you do these things, call Omar or call Antonio Bullard, and they'll be able to give you more information as to exactly what's what. Now, you're going to hear more from them next week, Godsphere, as they come and sit with me and talk to me about what's happening in those spaces, but we're going to take it from there. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, we're going to be here next week, give you more information, how our meetings, like we have it on Thursdays at Fusion. I think we're going to continue that unless something else happen. But come out, give me a call, give Omar a call, get some more information. Like I said, we have a payment plan that you could put that payment plan in place, and we can give you the bank account number. And once you put your funds there, you just take a snapshot of it, send it to me or him, and say, guess what? I am Mr. John Doe. I made my finger, send us your passport so we can make all the arrangements by getting your plane ticket, getting you sorted with your room, double occupancy or single occupancy, different prices. It started from $5,000. The other one is a little lower. We experience, we know where we're going, we know where we're going to take you. We arrange everything from you, from Nassau straight to China and back.
Ladies and gentlemen, come and check it out. This is Antonio sitting with us. If you want to find out more information, you can also hit me up, 827-0111. You got my numbers. We can be able to find out about that and be able to get these things. I saw that. We're going to be able to get these things done and make some things happen, all right? So let me take this quick break, guys. Thank you so much for being with us, my brother. We look forward to having you.
And it's always a pleasure, man. You know that, man.
Yeah, we look forward to having you next week and
Yep.
Omar sitting with us as we do these things, all right?
Thank you, buddy.
Guys, we're going to take this quick break, and we're going to be right back after this.
Say they wanna know where I go. Alright, watch out. I come from the 242, where we like beat drum and we drink sky juice. Epic ride inside the vehicle. Everywhere stage we move the needle. They wanna know the life living down so, cause the cautious keeping on on. No concern, corruption must burn. MP trunk, police and split birds. Blood on the streets, code for the gang, they gone obsolete. Killing up women and children and ting. Politician and the drug boy, them got linked. Now what you think? Look what you see. Don't care but you, don't care but me. They street boys still own everything. Now so funky, funky, funky. Say they wanna know where I go. Well, it's how the thing go. Watch out, the thing go. Watch out, watch out. Saying things getting better, but I just can't tell. Selling the line and building up hotel. What about the small man? Where they gonna go? Back, mother and child. Where they gonna go? Cost of living going up, up, up. Another body color that I just can't trust. They want but rocket for Elon Musk. Stealing from the people at a big surplus. Vulture in the vest of disguise. Every day I know the ancestor them cry. Walk with pride and fought the front line. Only for their sons to walk the road blind. Run turbulence with no compromise like Isaac the Kid. Tied seeing poor people suffering and getting tricked by the government again and again.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, live and in full effect on this beautiful Tuesday. Hope you guys got a good holiday. Last night, the Prime Minister was able to speak with us and talk to us about what's happening from a national standpoint, being able to talk about these things. Now, listen, I got that my good cousin Richard Cartwright's here with us to be able to talk to us about what's happening throughout the country and being able to identify what's what. You know, he always liked to talk politics. So I said, let me call him to see if we can have a good conversation with that. Introduce yourself, let persons know who you are.
Well, my name, everyone know me, Richard Cartwright. To my
Now, how
associate
everyone
friend.
knew you?
Everyone know me, Howard. I ain't just pop up. I'm a well-known person. From my days at BTC, Russian at the Saxons, go to First Baptist Church, so I'm a well-diversified person. So I've always been involved around politics on that end of campaigning, but I've now became more interested in looking at how the landscape and policies are being made. So I'm one of those persons you might see, persons who comes to Parliament would see me sitting in the gallery because I ask questions. And one of the things that I've learned is that in our great country called the Bahamas, it's amazing how many of our legislators don't know how or how to make policies that benefits the Bahamian people, because most of the stuff you hear them talk about, it's like, it's outsourced. And my belief is this, and I would say this to all political parties, is that to move the Bahamas ahead into the future, you got to empower Bahamians, not hyphenated Bahamians, but Bahamians.
What the hell is a hyphenated Bahamian?
Well, let me explain it to you. A hyphenated Bahamian is those persons who claim they are Bahamians because some of them might have been born here, but they don't meet the criteria to be called a Bahamian. But because our parliamentarians and, like I say, legislators, been using different policies to make these people Bahamians, and I would say to them, cultural-wise, it's a difference. And that's one of the problems that we see today.
Well, for all you hyphenated, non-organic Bahamians, it's too much. It's too much. It's too much that people doing to let you know that you ain't really from here. And we accept you, but you ain't really from here. So anyway, non-organic, hyphenated Bahamians, all those particular persons who are out there, we want to say good afternoon to you too. Amen. Today we're talking about these particular things and being able to identify this. We're talking about what's happening last night. Last evening we had an opportunity. Was probably less than the 20-minute conversation the Prime Minister had as he brought remarks to the nation on the majority rule holiday. Being able to identify those things. I watched ZNS last night. And on ZNS, they were just talking about the great service that they had at Bahama Harvest Church with Pastor Mario Moxley being able to do that. And right after, the PLP would have taken a sort of a Majority Rule Day march from the JFK location, right? If you don't know where Bahama Harvest is, it's by the Old Movies Galleria Theater, right there at the R&D Plaza on JFK. And so they walked from JFK and they walked over to Farrington Road to the PLP headquarters, right? And so, and that little walk, that little jog and sprint, a lot of persons were kind of enthusiastic about it, and I saw the pictures. It was good, man. It was a wonderful thing. And then, like I said, the Prime Minister spoke last evening, and you know, it was preluded or given this kind of a concept and idea that he would have a special something to say, right? Listen, I thought that would have been the Prime Minister stating when we go into a general election. Was that too much for me to say? Was it too much?
No, because basically that's what most people was waiting to hear, because
We're still waiting to hear that.
and you know, most people, like today, like the other day when I met the MP for the old Bimini in North Andres, and he was telling me, hey, you come into Parliament last week? And I said, I know. I said, what's going on? He said, well, you know, we're just going to have the formalities, and then we're going to go into our church service. And he said that this week coming, they would now start to talk about plans for Grand Bahama, and
When the House meeting today?
next week, tomorrow.
Next week?
Tomorrow, and then they
Today is the 13th, tomorrow is the
will,
14th.
yes, and so they will also.
And so tomorrow
yes,
they should solidify the Boundaries Commission's report.
report, yes.
And we should be able to hear about that. Now, historically, after we would have heard a solidified position and an acceptance by the House of Assembly and the resolution passed, and then being able to do that, historically, we would have been able to almost sprint to the general election. Talk to me.
Yes, you would normally, after those, that has been done in the parliament, then the prime minister would then gets up and let you know, well, okay, you can expect general election at such and such a time, such and such a date, and he would advise everyone who are eligible to vote to go and register.
Are we prepped for that now? Are we seeing that in our society? Is there this sort of a heightened awareness and expectation for general election to be,
I would say this, Howard, and something I saw on a show I think you were a part of, and it made me sit down and rethink about how elections been won in this country. And if you look at the landscape and you listen to the landscape, I would hate to say, but I'm expecting a low turnout.
But if it's a low turnout, I keep trying to explain to people
And
that a
it
low
will be a
turnout,
disadvantage to
a low turnout means that the PLP will win the next general election.
election. And you know, I tell people, I said, that is one of the
And I
things you gotta look
believe
at.
it will be a low turnout because the Free National Movement has not had, in my humble opinion, and it's my opinion, has not been able to create enough electricity to electrify a mosquito.
Well, you know,
In my good friend Michael
Yes.
Scott's words, right?
well, I would say this, Howard, and one of the things, and I tell people this right now, if you listen to the word on the street, the two biggest complaints in this country is the matter of immigration and the economic of the country. And one of the things that I tell people that I listen to all parties. And the one thing I've always told people that if you listen to the government takes a policy stance and they go with it. But if you listen to the opposition, and I've said this to many people over and over in the two oppositions, and I said, listen, there are certain things that you could offer that certain people will embrace, and there are certain things that you would offer, people wouldn't. Like, for instance, my neighbors are of Haitian descent, and I always listen to them, and they said, you know, if I have to vote, I would not vote for the COI or the FNM. I said, why? He said, because they talking about deporting us. So I said, well, if they deport you, do you think they have a right? And they said, yeah, but we've been here all these years. I said, but that ain't the question. I said, well, here's my thing to you. If they were to offer, and I would say this to the government, the whole parliament, we've been for years, had a lot of people born in this country, but their parents doesn't meet the criteria under our Constitution. And I said this over and over, and I've been preaching this for the last 10 years. Why not do the easiest thing by granting those personnel permanent residence? We do it for people living in Life and Key. But these are people who live in our communities who've been making contribution. We take funds from them, whether you want to go to the store, whatever. They're part of the fabric in this country. So why not grant them a pathway to permanent residence, whereby that they can still use that passport of their heritage?
One of the things that the Free National Movement has done in their last stint with Minis, at the onset of that stint, the then Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, was he Minister of Finance? Or Minister of Financial Service? No, Minister of Finance. I think he
No.
was.
Peter Turnquist?
Peter Turnquist.
Yeah.
Peter Turnquist's language was the language of reciprocity. He needed to get value for money. That's what he said. That's one of the things that he actually introduced in our society. Value for money. And I think with that information, I think a lot of our minds have been recalibrated, not just to be able to distribute our money, just to be able to kind of shovel off our money, but to be able to get value for that money that we're spending, right? And I think we see that in different areas also. it's not enough just to say, I'm a Haitian, I'm a Jamaican, I'm a Trinidadian, I'm a Barbadian, or whatever, or Bayesian, right? It's not enough to say that I want to come to your country, but we're also looking simultaneously for value that these persons could be able to bring to us as they're moving into our country. And I think that it doesn't matter how long you're here, we need to know whether or not you're lending value to our society. Now, given the fact that we may have a great deal of Bahamians who ain't adding to our society, that ain't got nothing to do with the fact that we accepting y'all to be able to come out to that aspect also. Let's just be very clear about that. And I think that there needs to be a pronouncement and a space of reciprocity where we can be able to find from these persons the value that they bring to the forefront before we can be able to kind of fling our doors open. We've seen that the stipulations have shifted in the United States of America, and Trump is indicating that you don't have to go through a lottery, just pay $500,000 and we can get this done. You don't have to go through these particular things. The price point has raised. It's almost like economic segregation, but if you know that you have value, you can make that money right back. You can make that money right back into a consumer society like the United States of America. And so we ourselves need to be able to make a determination as to whether or not we're going to make modifications to these, our rules, regulations, laws that continue to govern our country, just for the sheer and mere fact and purposes of the fact that, all right, well, you look like you're suffering, let's see if we can be able to take you. Or, hey, listen, these guys are excellent when it comes to hydroponics. They're excellent. They like have the green thumb. They know how to be able to aggregate and aggregate and do all these particular things with the land. Maybe we should give them an opportunity and do a trial run. And so we do it something like 6 months, 12 months, 14 months, 18 months, and make a determination as to whether or not they bring value to us. And this is something that you can measure. And then determine whether or not we're going to keep them. That's just what it is. Talk to me.
Yes, okay, and in some aspects, I totally agree with you, but I will go a little bit further because here's what I'm looking at. You have those who were born in the country, given, and then you have those who are now coming on top of them into the country. So I'm like, okay, why not start up a process where you now deal with those who were born here first? Those who want to come into the country, you can now put them on a work permit. But then you have a stipulation with that work permit. You even then have a stipulation with how long they can be here. So if, for instance, let's say Peter Pierre comes to the Bahamas and said, oh, I want a job, I'm coming looking for work or whatever. They said, what's your skill? And he said, well, I do X, Y, Z. I said, okay, this is what it's gonna cost. Your first year, whoever employs you, you and them pays for your work permit. One. Afterwards, if you're here for 5 years, the next 4 years, you would now be responsible of paying the government for that work permit. But in that process, you would also be training a minimum of 5 Bahamians.
Yeah, but this is the Bahamianization.
Yes.
That's the concept of the Bahamianization.
Yes, but see,
and everyone have rejected the concept and idea of Bahamianization. They have not allowed us an opportunity to be able to see the real fruits that this could yield for the country.
Yes.
They've rejected this. And every government that comes in, they skirt around this issue of empowerment and a very clear understanding of how we could be able to see reciprocity and significant trade in our country. You won't come in here, you got to bring something.
Yes.
When you bring the something, we're going to retain that something. And we will determine whether or not we're going to keep you, because we got the something now, or let you go with due time and due season and allow somebody else to come in. We should have that sovereignty, that space to be able to make these decisions.
True, Howard, because when you look at it, and I always tell people this, one of the things that I've listened to many of our politicians or legislators speak about, and I always ask them, have you been to this country? Have you been to that country? Have you seen how they have run their country? And I always tell people that when you look at it, the Bahamas is one of the most open country that everybody can come in. Because here's an instance that growing up, this country was based on its middle class, which were all totally Bahamian, all Bahamian. Here in 2026, the middle class is now run by non-Bahamians. So your economic engine that was carrying your country is no longer driven by Bahamians. It's driven by non-Bahamians. If you look at, as you drive all around this town, especially those of us who live in the inner city. One time ago, we know the liquor business was only basically all hands-on Bahamian. Now, the liquor business is now controlled by the Chinese. If you look at basically food, little takeaways, one time ago, that was basically all Bahamian. And I also, I'm not gonna have a problem with you having a specialty restaurant or takeaway, but not for you to oversaturate the community whereby now that the Bahamian sector, which was basically for us or for Bahamians, is now taking a back seat.
The difficulty with this conversation is this. Business is business. Business is not emotional.
No.
Business doesn't care about whether there's only supply and demand. Business doesn't care about the retention of ethnicity. Business doesn't care about whether or not they're socially balanced. Business only concerns itself about supply and demand. And the level of business that we've done in this country is business that is consumed with capitalism. This business that's steeped out of the United States of America that says, all for me, baby. And if you got any more, I want that too. That's essentially what capitalism is. We're not concerned about who else is in this race. That's socialism. We're not concerned about who else is around us. We're only concerned about the business of our business. That's it. And so this capitalism concept that's already steeped into our society doesn't concern itself with whether or not there's social balance, which is not necessarily the best thing. However, we understand the principles. And the business being business, there is a supply and demand. There is a demand for chicken.
Yes.
If there's the demand for chicken, we don't care how much KFC out here. We don't care how much Popeye out here. We don't care how much, who else is that chicken? Chick-fil-A or whatever, they're in here. But I'm just saying to you, we don't care how much Bamboo Shack out here. We don't care about any of those things. These people within the confines of their own business need to make a determination as to whether or not we could sustain this. If our business is taking care of itself, if we have a business out in out in Old Fort Bay, if we have a Bamboo Shack in Old Fort Bay, and every month we got to take from another space to pay for that Bamboo Shack because the demographic of people in this area are not purchasing fried chicken all the time. You got to determine, listen, this ain't business for this sector.
No.
This ain't business for this sector. You take that exact same concept, same chicken, same principle, same template, and put that in the middle of downtown, in the middle of Carmichael Road, you're making $200,000 a week.
Yes.
It's just business. Once there is a demand, we have the responsibility to supply that. Now, for all those entrepreneurs, you need to figure out what the demand is in that sector that you're working on and supply that demand and make some things happen.
You're right, Howard, because, one of the funniest things that I smile at is that
No, but I'm just saying that to say a lot of persons, and guys, make sure you go down there on East Street South and get yourself Crystal Select water. With my guys, this is very good water. Guys, you want to be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that a lot of persons just want us to be able to be more conscious when it comes to business. Business has no heart.
No.
There's no soul in business. It's just business.
Well, I always told people this, and it made me laugh the other night. And walking around my neighborhood, and I said, I feel let me try something different. So I went to this place, and it was a so-called a griot restaurant.
You're going to get some pickles. I was going to tell you that.
And so I smiled, so I said, griot. So the guy said, yeah, we got griot. So I said, what is it? What is it? So he's like, it's chicken. I said, but that's
You're
chicken
too
wing."
old not to know what griot is.
But what I'm saying is this.
And griot is more pork than chicken.
But what I said to them is basically what we used to do here a long time ago, fried pork. But they give it a name, so now when people hear the name, they say there's something different. And I say, no, it's the same old concept. Fried pork, fried chicken wings.
But you can't call it fried pork and spend my money on it. You got to give it something kind of fancy.
And so
right?
you
I got
find-
the fella call it, this is just glade. No, you got to make it sound exotic, glade.
And so you find that now it is easy, and this is one thing I always tell people that I've noticed a lot in our country. Anyone, most of the personnel under the age of 35, they're not a pot to stove person. they looking for something like you say, a buck that they could extend their money.
That's the demand.
Yes.
The demand is they already have money set aside every day to eat out.
Oh,
They ain't cooking home. They don't have the facilities to cook home. They're on the road. They're on the move. They're eating out. It's not good for our health.
No.
It's not good for our country. It's not good for community development. It's not good for family. It's not good for camaraderie in terms of being able to break bread together. None of this is good. It's not good for that kind of traditional concept and idea of being able to bring the family together. It perpetuates this sort of an idea that I could live single and still be able to survive. There is no desperation to be able to kind of pull these things together. You don't have that anymore.
No.
You don't have that. And so you find yourself in this position where people just moving. And if they're moving like that, we got a problem.
well, another thing too, Howard, you mentioned that with produce and stuff. I was just asking one of my cousins the other day, he said, you know, you got a lot of land home. He said, yeah, cuz. I said, why don't you plant some peppers? He said, cuz, I could do that. He said, but maybe you can get the market. I said, well, I will go around to the different outlets and see, hey, if someone, you could let us know what your demands are in the market for where there's peppers and stuff. We've got a lot of land, we'll farm it, and you basically let us know your demand, and we work with you to farm for your market. And the guy said to me, well, you know, we have a supply where we bring stuff from out of town, and it's much cheaper. I said, well, how is it much cheaper if you got local produce? And he said to me, he said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, I walk in the food store and I said, look at your tomatoes. I said, your tomatoes you have there on display, it's done really ready to go in the dump. He said, why you say that? I said, because it's too soft. How are you gonna basically get people to buy your tomatoes if they're that too soft? Means that in one day, they have to use it. Payments don't like to use everything one time. You know, we're used to the basically a cut piece off here, and that's tomorrow.
But
I
you
said-
can fix this, man.
And so I said to them, why don't you, so the guy said to me, well, if you decide, if you grow something, come back to us and let us see a sample of your produce. So I told my guy, I said, listen, we got over, that's 30 acres in the back of the house. Plant them and let me know and I will come by.
30 acres in the back of the house?
Yeah.
But it's in Long Island?
Yeah. That's only one property.
Jesus.
And so I tried to get them to become
How close
a couple of-
cousins we is? I need to get.
We'll give it the other side of the side. We'll take over that island over there. Side.
Whee!
And I said to them, I said, we do not understand that we're so used to now in this era where we always look for government to take care of us. I said, listen, man, our grandfather, those were farmers. Everything that me and my brother inherited, I said, that came from him as a farmer and a fisherman. So I said, if we go back and do the same thing, and you know what's so funny is that my cousin is like, 6 of them are fishermen. And I said, why don't you guys build a dock in the back of your property? Because in Long Island is one of the few islands where people still own waterfront property. He said, because, but I said, this is how you're thinking. Don't let no one tell you that it cannot work. If you go to places like Andres, Andres is one of the most fertile land in the Bahamas. But we have not seen no major farming industry pick up in Andres. You go to Ilucho, at one time ago, Ilucho was a big supplier of milk and everything to this country. You don't see that happening now. All you see is potholes about the road, bush groups, high as the water tower. And so it's like, what is it that our
It's
people...
kind of a stretch, but okay.
No, but I'm serious. I'm saying, what is our legislators are trying to say to the behemoth? Because how are you going to tell me you can justify the food chain business bringing in produce, and 90% of the produce have on it mark only for export only? And my philosophy is that if you can't eat it in your country, why you want my people to eat it in my country?
Well, this goes right back to what the Prime Minister says. The Prime Minister says that he's eliminating all of the VAT on uncooked food. Prime Minister today said that last night he announced that VAT will now be entirely eliminated from all unprepared food and grocery items that will come into effect April 1st, 2026. The government moved to further the concessions to address cost of living concerns ahead of the upcoming general election. So when we get back, I want to talk a little bit more about that, this sort of a concept and idea that exists in these particular spaces, to find out sort of where the government's mind is and what could be our sort of the trickle effect on how things are happening in those areas. Guys, I'm here with none other than Richard Conrad. Going to take a quick commercial break. Going to be right back after this.
Say they wanna know where I go. Tell her. Aight, watch ya. I come from the 242, where we like beat drum and we drink sky juice. Epic ride inside the vehicle. Everywhere stage we move the needle. They wanna know the life living down south. It's the cautious, keeping on. No concern, corruption must burn. MP Trump, police and split birds. Blood on the streets, code for the gang, they gone obsolete. Killing up women and children and ting. Politician and the drug boy, them got linked. Now what to think? Look what you see. Don't care but you, don't care but me. They street boys still own everything. Now so funky. Say they wanna know where I go. Well, it's Saturday go. Watch ya. Saying things getting better, but I just can't tell. Selling the land and building up hotel. What about the small man? Where they gonna go? Back mother and child. Where they gonna go? Cost of living going up. Another body color that I just can't trust. They whine but rocket for Elon Musk. Stealing from the people at a big surplus. Vulture in a divested disguise. Every day I know the ancestor them cry. Walk with pride and fought the front line. Only for their sons to walk the road blind. Run turbulence with no compromise like Isaac the Kid. Tired seeing poor people suffering and getting tricked by the government again and again.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, right here on the Foundation with Howard Grant. Guys, get yourself prepared. We're going to be able to do some stuff real soon. We're working on some stuff to be able to get you done by the end of this month. Well, let me get the thing to show you so we can do it one time. We're working on some things to show you by the end of this month. We should be in a position where, hold on now, let me get the thing properly. We should be up and running with our thing, all right? Foundation Radio 242, Foundation Radio 89.5 FM, 89.5 FM, Foundation Radio. We should be up and running by the end of this month. We're working assiduously to be able to ensure that essentially it's all money. It ain't will, it ain't concept, it ain't desire. It ain't anything other than money, just to ensure that everything is in place. Guys, if you're in the kind of a position where you have shares, if you want to be able to purchase shares into a profitable business and being able to move forward, if you're sitting out there, Howard Hire Shares, we have some great people on the board. You'll be impressed to know who we have on the board as we continue to be able to do these things and continue to be able to build in this capacity, all right? So we're hoping, praying, and really believing by the time as February kick in, you'll be able to hear us live on air, 89.5 FM radio, as we just trying to be able to get these last little bit of things done before we be able to get out there. I'm sitting here in the studio with none other than Richard Cartwright as he continues to be able to talk about these things. Tell me, what did you make of the Prime Minister's speech last night? Did you listen to it?
I read it, replayed it, and I told people right off the bat. Someone asked me this morning, I said, it's now opening in and off election. Prime Minister with that trinket is now letting you know
Is a trinket? Okay.
he is prepared now, getting ready for the election. Because that there statement with the VAT, he knows that VAT has been a very, like a chain, a ball, a chain around the baby people's neck.
I like how he structured himself last
Yes.
night. You knew it was campaign oriented and
Yes.
related. When he started to say, we've been through some things from 2018 when the former administration had done this, and then in 2019 we had some tribulations, and then came the pandemic, and we would have lost $7.7 billion based upon the external valuation as it relates to hurricanes, another $9 billion. I think it was $9.5 billion as it relates to COVID-19. So it's a tremendous amount of money. You know what I mean? Like, we found ourselves in this position, and the Prime Minister has indicated that we've lost so much. Now, how much we would have been, asked the question to the Bahamian public, how much, where could we have been in the event that these things are, who knows? Just kind of, tiptoe and just kind of plant that seed in your mind to say that there is possibilities for you to be able to be in a better position. And I listened to it, I smile. I listened to the Prime Minister indicate that, yeah, but when we came in, the FNM raised VAT on you by 60%. He's indicated that the FNM VAT was 7.5%. And this is a heavy thing. And I think that this is the disparity, or this is the contrast that exists between the FNM and the PLP, okay? Historically, when we initially went to VAT, this was supposed to be starting at about 15%, 14, 15%, if you remember that conversation.
Yes, it was.
It was supposed to start at 14, 15%. They fight. The PLP busted in half. They busted in half. They fight till it was busted in half at 7.5%. And the Bahamian people settled on that. And you know what is the amazing thing is that there was only 4 of them in the House of Assembly during this time. You remember that?
But here's the thing, though. I always smile and tell people, I don't know what kind of mathematics people use. You might say, yes, VAT was at X, Y, Z. But the thing was, VAT wasn't on every item. But when you slash VAT, VAT became, every item became VAT access. So if you cut this table in half, and you said, well, I only had one table.
I like this argument that he given me.
Yeah.
I like this argument.
And so you still got,
I like this argument.
you cut the table in half, you say, well, I got 2 tables. I agree. But if you put them together, it's still the same table.
Let's be clear with this, okay? Let's be clear with this. The VAT revenue for the first year was $500 million in the first 6 months. I will never forget how Ketis has indicated to us that for the first half of the year, we made $500 million in VAT revenue. Then after that, I didn't hear a pronounced position of how much we would have acquired from VAT over the course of time. And so I suppose that is another 500. If we call the next 6 months another 500 million, just to be on the safe side, that's $1 billion in revenue that the government has collected annually from VAT. $1 billion. Let's go now. You say you like maths. $1 billion annually, just for the sake of this conversation, that they've collected from VAT. When the PLP reduced that rate, the PLP enjoyed, just like every government, enjoyed the fact that revenue was up, which was $1 billion. But essentially, they needed to be able to also simultaneously be the party that has been the party for the people. They are the poor man's organization. So they have to do what it takes to be able to give the impression into the minds of the people that they're reducing where it matters most for those persons, like the breadbasket items, the this, the that, all these particular things. They have to be able to create something that is reduced in those areas and then simultaneously increase it in other areas, so we can be able to always retain this position that we've actually acquired and we celebrate within the confines of government, which is $1 billion annual revenue. I'm sure it's more than that.
Well,
I'm sure it's more than that.
here's where I smile again, because you said you slash on breadbasket items, but a loaf of Roman meal bread is almost $6 in the food store. But if I go to Purity, I get that same Roman meal bread for $3.75.
Now, you can't compare
So,
Purity,
what I'm saying is this,
who get concessions out of the yin yang.
but now what I'm saying is this: if you give Purity got these kind of concessions, wouldn't you think that those concessions should be passed on to the wholesaler, who then pass it on to the consumer?
No.
No, it don't work that way.
Why? You know why it doesn't work that way? Because even in a lean year, we could hear profits from the Bank of the Bahamas, we could hear profits from Commonwealth Bank, we could hear profits from all these entities who are still being able to require you to be able to pay and pay up big time. They've diversified their portfolio. They've looked for supplemental income. They're looking for other avenues and other streams of revenue to be able to come into their company. They've done all of these things, and it's always going to the bottom line. It's never for the purposes of saying to reduce something to be able to help somebody else get something. Cable Bahamas is always in the surplus. Cable Bahamas is in the surplus. They're doing well. They're making things happen. And the service is not the absolute best service.
No.
Let's just be clear about this. It's not the absolute best service. I care not to go into the detail of those things. Let's be very clear. You're watching me on my Starlink right now. You know what I'm saying? And in my home, we're being able to do these things from an independent standpoint. It don't make no sense to me rowing, and get subpar service. But every year they turn a profit. Every year they turn a profit. This is not designed to be able to say to people, well, we reduced the rate for people. No, remember we started this conversation off that we are in a consumer capitalist society. These people only want to know what else I could take and still get the best for me.
Well, you know, I would laugh. Like I said, every time you mention certain things, I have to smile, because you mentioned that $1 billion, which the government collect. Revenue came into the treasury. But what I don't understand is that when you look at all of these things that they talk about with VAT, the concept of VAT was basically to do what? To pay down the national debt.
That was the concept.
But if you notice, for as much money the government collects, our debt has been going up and up, and it ain't been coming down.
The Prime Minister spoke to that last evening. Every year we continue to be able to borrow from these persons, astronomical borrowing, and put us in the chokehold and put us in the tight position. And then they just going to have to make a decision to be able to do something more. Listen, I'm excited to see what this PLP government is bringing to the forefront. I really am. I'm excited about it, and I don't want you to be able to. It didn't. If we do a sort of a contrast, how it began, how it's going now. This didn't begin. This 2021, September 16, 2021, did not begin like this for me. And a great deal of us had an expectation that the PLP would find failure, as they've done in the past, right around the corner or so. By now, we expected the PLP to be in such a dismal position that it was inevitable for the F&M to kind of slide in. This is the thought pattern for all of us who never necessarily supported the PLP at the onset. But I could speak for a great deal of people and myself. The PLP is making a believer out of many of us. And I don't know whether or not it's the PLP as an organization, but I believe that this Brave Davis-led administration, who has a determination and his character now spilling into these particular positions, a great deal of persons would be able to say that Brave Davis is taking on this significant challenge and making some things happen. And I believe them.
Well, I will always tell people this, and this is something that I explained to someone last week, and I said to them, the Prime Minister, Minister Davis, his concept of governance is a little bit like the former Prime Minister, but it's a little bit different as compared to
Who? Which one?
from the last Prime Minister to going back.
Minis?
Yeah. They all are basically capitalistic views, whereby the Ingrams, the Christies, wanted to use capitalism, but they wanted to hold on to the socialistic ideology of the PLP party. If you watch how Mr. Davis is now moving, he is now even repositioning himself with minds who are capitalistic, but also doing things in a way where it doesn't that big drop that you have.
Okay, let's do this. If you didn't watch the Prime Minister, and I really got to get my equipment so I can set this up properly so I can just be able to play, right? I can set this up. I can do what I have to do. Just bear with me, okay? We will make this happen, and you're going to get a superb quality product from me, but these things take money and time. So we get it done. But let's be clear about this. The Prime Minister started to be able to talk about money, the necessity for being able to develop, to provide an opportunity for persons to be able to get reduced rates on the shelves, in the stores, right? So you can be able to take something home to eat, right? And go pursue your thing. And then he transitioned simultaneously to say that mothers or whoever are busy and they maybe not have a time to cook, they don't have anything, or you could be able to not worry about that because we fed 1.4 million breakfasts so far.
Yes.
That's what he said. And so he is pairing the social arm and the social aspect of the necessity of ensuring that we could be able to wipe every tear, the proverbial tears from those particular eyes, which is the mantra of the PLP. He is pairing that with the economic influx and development prospect of growth and development in the country. You understand?
Well, here's the thing.
You got to let me take a break, guys. This is a very important call that's coming through.
Say they wanna know where I go. Alright, watch out. I come from the 242, where we like beat drum and we drink sky juice. Hectic ride inside the vehicle, but everywhere stage we move the needle. They wanna know the life living down south, it's the cautious keeping on. No concern, corruption must burn. MP Trump, police and split birds. Blood on the streets, code for the gang, they gone obsolete. Killing up women and children and ting. Politician and the drug boy, them got linked. Now what you think? Look what you see. Don't care but you, don't care but me. They street boys still own everything. Now so funky. just can't trust. They want but rocket for Elon Musk. Stealing from the people at a big surplus. Vulture in a defensive disguise. Every day I know the ancestor them cry. Walk with pride and fought the front line. Only for the sons to walk the road blind. Run turbulence with no compromise like Isaac the kid. Tired seeing poor people suffering and getting tricked by the government again and again.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Foundation with Howard Grant. Just a very quick commercial break. Somebody called me and said, Howard, can we change it up? Get a different song? We'll definitely do that. I'll have my guy be able to set this up accordingly, and then we can take it from there. But we're talking, man. We're talking about these concepts and ideas. We're talking about where we are. We're talking about the government's responsibility, and more specifically, the PLP, who has always been able to be a party for society, a socialist party in a sense, right? Who's never been able to perpetuate the idea for business. They understand the necessity for business. They have the wherewithal of being able to do business, but we understand that their anchor has always been the people. Their eye has always been on the people. And if any organization, any entity, any arm of the PLP doesn't do this, then we know that there's an issue. We know that there is an issue because the PLP historically has been the party for the people, has been the party for the working man, the working class. It's been the party for all those persons who have been proverbially downtrodden and looking for an opportunity for growth and development in our society. And so the PLP is placed in this kind of a position where we're seeing these things being able to come to the forefront. In my humble opinion, as I genuflect and curtsy as I say this, in my humble opinion, Philip Brave Davis is showing me more of a humanitarian effort, more of a social perspective of empowerment, more of an opportunity to be able to take care of those persons who are in a downtrodden position than I've seen in my lifetime from leaders in this country. And then a very close second, because of the pandemic, would be Dr. Hubert Minnis. But Philip Brave Davis has done wonders as it relates to being able to reach people, feed people, touch people, assist people, develop concepts, ideas, so forth and so on. This ain't no campaign slogan. This ain't helping him. This ain't doing all these things. This is just through observation. When we look at entrepreneurial programs, when we look at persons being able to get funds, when we look at reaching, the Prime Minister being able to reach persons, when we look at, like I said to you, this is not how this started off for me, In 2021, I expected there to be defeat. There was enough chatter in the air about the character of Brave Davis on the ground. And obviously this has come from people who dislike him. There was enough chatter on the ground that would make you to frame a concept in your mind, if you were listening, that Brave Davis would have failed. And he has impressed us with every step of the way. Now, a lot of persons would be able to kind of pair that with this idea of traveling around the world and saying that he's always traveled. A lot of Grand Bahamians would pair that and say, well, Howard, they ain't get the hotel taken care of yet. A lot of Grand Bahamians would pair that and say, what about the airport? A lot of persons would pair what I'm saying about a progressive prime minister who's empowering people at every step of the way. They would look at some of the issues, whether it be major or minor, and say they would hang their entire legacy on that. I believe that this organization is a holistic organization. We're now, for the very first time, we're hearing modifications in my lifetime, mass modifications and potential shifting from members of parliament in various areas. The former Prime Minister, Hubert Minnis, had made indications that if these members of parliament are not performing, then you're gone. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
If these people are non-performing, then they're gone. We never fixed and identified a proper valuation of how to be able to make this determination. The PLP behind the scenes have been doing evaluations of various persons in various constituencies along the way. The PLP has been doing that. They go on in your constituency, they find out how this particular person's performing, they do a poll in those particular constituencies, they ask questions, they want to find out if you're good with this person or you're not good with that person. Hence, you ain't gonna want me to say this, but I can say it anyhow. Why Sylvanus Petty is back in the position, and I don't know whether or not he's ratified yet. I think he has been. I'm not sure whether or not he's ratified yet in this particular capacity, but it is that the PLP is giving him considerations. They're not giving him considerations based upon his utterances, because it was quite foolish for him to be able to say as a member of parliament, I'm leaving, but the next time you see me that you'll be prime minister. Sir, you skipping too much. How you going to leave parliament, sir? You going to leave the one place that can help you be prime minister, and you can tell me the next time we see you, you're going to be the prime minister.
Well, Howard, here's what I would say right now. And I always tell people that you must give the prime minister kudos because he's very astute, very observant. Not because he's been the longest serving member in the House, but he is the type of person, he watch, he observe, he studies. Now, you see where the PLP party is now doing this evaluation of candidates and stuff. That was something that the former prime minister talked about but didn't enforce. This prime minister is now saying, you know what, that's a good idea, but I ain't gonna let him know it's a good idea, but I'm gonna use it. Because if you watch, when the PLP came to power, a lot of the ideas of the former prime minister, and I blame him for not implementing, because they're your ideas. If Howard has an idea and Howard doesn't implement that idea, and I come along and implement his ideas, parts of it, I get the credit, not Howard. Now, I'm not gonna tell people, you know, well, they'll ask me, well, that's mine. But deep down, you know, you can see the correlation and how certain things were done. The problem with the F&M.
But I couldn't say that, though.
The problem with the F&M.
Let me
right
say
now,
this. I
can
couldn't say that. I can just cut you off 2 seconds. I couldn't say that this prime minister or his crew stole ideas from Minnis, because Minnis got that from somewhere. And when you start to do proper valuation of what needs to happen in our society, these same ideas come into the forefront.
There was no.
The same ideas come to the forefront. So you can't say it's an F&M idea or a PLP idea. If you go to the community and capture these ideas, it's just the ideas that come into the forefront.
But what I'm saying, Howard, is this. No prime minister before Dr. Minnis was pushing the idea of term limits. No prime minister.
But this wasn't a foreign concept in our country.
No.
After Lyndon Pinlin got 25 years, the first administration for Hubert Ingraham, with the government in the sunshine, had conversations about the possibility of being able to see term limits. We understood that it would not have been in 92, but we expected something to be able to come to the forefront in 1997. Talk to me.
Never happened.
No, but did we hear about it?
Rumblings never happened.
But it was rumblings. I was just trying to tell you, it's the
But-
same thing.
But I'm saying to you that it was brought forward and mentioned into the forefront. It wasn't a backdoor talk. It was basically put out there. And I remember saying to the former prime minister, and I told him, I said, listen, bro, these ideas that you're talking about are changing the concept of Bahamian landscape in politics. It's going to be to your detriment.
You Minnis, you talking
Yes.
about?
I said, you know why?
You would not let this man shake his damn cowbells.
No.
Every time you go in the shack, you want to talk politics. He will relax, and you in there talking to him all day.
But I hit him in reality.
You put him in the shack.
But I told him the reality, and it happened. It happened.
Minister, I apologize for my cousin. Hey, I know you want to be in there in the shack, and you wouldn't want to shake your bell.
But he shaky bell, all right. He shaky bell's out of power. That's my boy. But Howard, all I said is this: when you were leading, this way separates Mr. Davis from all of them. Mr. Davis come with an idea, and he would go to bat for that idea, and he would not let it go.
What separates Mr. Davis, Prime Minister Davis, Brave Davis, from everyone else is that he's a man who says what he means and means what he says.
He goes with an idea, and he sticks with
If
it.
he say he can do it, he just do it.
Even if it's wrong, that's the way he goes about it.
And you know what?
People like that.
I called and I asked. I said, "Well, can you come down here and cut the ribbon for us?" right? Somebody say, oh, well, I don't know if it can happen. I make a couple calls. I finally get to him. And he says, okay, Howard, I'll do my best to be able to get it done. I said, let me know when you can get it done. And through it all, as busy as he was, he has found a way to be able to come down here and cut the ribbon for us. It's not because I was a PLP. It's not because of anything. It's just because I want the country to understand that with the introduction of an economic opportunity, the top man for finance in the
Is
country
the Prime Minister.
is cutting the ribbon for us.
It's the Prime Minister.
And so he showed up. And I'm just trying to let you know that it's not just for Howard Grant, it's for so many people in our country that he showed up for, right? Now, rest assured that the Prime Minister has a ways to go, because you're dealing with a great deal of people who have been steeped in poverty, steeped in lack, steeped in this kind of a position with nothing for a very long time. So they can be begging you for things left, right, and center. And that's something that you could expect. So you have a ways to go. But I think more than Minnis, more than Christie,
Yes.
more than Ingram, he has made a significant dent socially and making men and women, average men and women, to understand that you are a part of this ride. You are part of this particular thing as we move forward into the future. We need you along with us. We've never had that before in my lifetime. We've always had this kind of a superior complex associated with leadership in this country as men seek to be able to elevate themselves and lord over us. That's what they're doing. They seek to lord over us. And I think for the most part, we have a tendency to beat our leaders, not just the Prime Minister, our leaders, with the switch of the past, with the switch from the fella from the last time. You beat me with the fella switch from last time. He thief from you. I didn't thief from you. And that's why relationships don't work for single women who just get out of baby daddy. That's why relationships don't work for women who just come out of a divorce. That's why these things don't happen, because you're so rich in the pain that you endured most recently. It's hard to be able to see beyond that. Not yet. And all you're doing is looking for a reason to call this fella a dog like the last one. And I think if we sit back and give Brave Davis an opportunity and recognize what he's been trying to do, independent of the fact that he was affiliated with an administration that caused the country not to move for 5 years. We were sitting in limbo under Perry Christie, waiting for Sarkis Ismailian to do something. That was the news for 5 years, or 3.5 years. Tell me the truth.
Bahama.
Bahama was the news.
Well, Bahama. Has
We've
been
been waiting on something. The country ain't moving yet.
That was a 10-year project.
I hear what dock open. I hear what nothing else happened. I hear no entrepreneurialism out there. And Perry Gladstone Christie indicated that this would be his legacy.
Yeah.
How you could be in politics for 40 years and you just remember at the 39th year with 8 months to go that you have to be able to build legacy. We've been watching your legacy the entire time.
And it was so sad that the guy who succeeded you was the one who cut the ribbon.
That's the guy who succeeded you.
Yeah. But here's the thing where I think the Prime Minister is going to face an uphill battle. He will probably still scale out and win. Is that the FNM and the other opposition has not laid out a clear, precise immigration policy.
Not just immigration policy. They haven't laid out a clear,
policy.
precise, because I don't just need an immigration policy. I'm not one of these. Okay, so let's do this. If I am a Bahamian married to a Cuban,
Yes.
living in the Bahamas, with curly-haired Cuban children who go to one of these private schools around here, and I'm being taken care of like that, I'm not concerned about immigration policy and immigration issues in this country like that.
But
I don't even want to feel hypocritical. That's one.
yeah, but here's the thing though.
The society is not made up of a people with bad mind.
It isn't bad mind.
It's a bad mind.
No.
Let me tell you why. You can't believe that. Okay, I watched this meme the other day. The fellow was on the bike. He was riding on the bike. He hit a rock. This is pictures. The first picture, the fellow riding on the bike. Second picture, the fellow hit a rock. Third picture, the fella fall down, the bike on top of him. Fourth picture, he say, oh my God, them Haitians. My point to you is that we blame Haitians for every Jesus thing because this is what you're saturated with. When the WTO was coming to the country and Zhivago Lang was at the forefront of being able to talk about the WTO, he had to go all around and people were asking simple questions like, will you mean that you're going to open up the borders and people from Trinidad and Tobago can even take our government, our jobs at the pump? You can't even get a job at the pump. Stupid, silly, asinine things that people were saying because they didn't understand. They didn't understand these things, but they always equated these things at the lowest level. The lowest level. Now, historically, the PLP has always dealt with this sort of a lowbrow, low-tier conversation to be able to educate, inform, and lift people up to their thinking, but the FNM has always looked above that. We have always been able to peer up the nose of some FNM leader. We've always been looking up to be able to hear these things. They've never been able to come down and deal directly with the grassroots people. And this is what I must give the PLP strength for. I must give them kudos for. I must encourage them to move in a particular direction because these things are making a difference in our country.
I agree, but then, like I said again, Howard, then you look at culture. And culture is not only about festivals, but it's the way of people interact with each other. When you go to other Caribbean countries and you go in amongst their diaspora, you see there is a difference when it comes to someone who is not a part of their diaspora. And they hold that to the bitter end. We've always been an open diaspora. We have never sat down, and this is why I said that in the beginning, if people born in the country, whether their parents are from Haiti, Jamaica, whatever, you have to look and say, hey, how do we now correct this problem instead of having this limbo? Instead of you basically using a law that doesn't exist to say, oh, I make you a Bahamian, and then you basically frustrate your masses, that's wrong. But if you say to them, listen, we're gonna now create a pathway where these people can be a part of society, make a contribution, but the one thing that you hold dear to you as a citizen is to protect your sovereignty means that you can't vote, you can never be prime minister, such and such and such and such and such offices. But if you now, and I've talked to a lot of people, and I asked them, I said, if the Bahamas government was to offer you permanent residence, allow you to do business and whatever, would you be interested in anything else? 100% said no. If I could come into a country and make money, and at the end of the day, if I decide that I want to leave that country, I can go home to my home country without having to hold my head down and wondering, well, what did I do? That's the way it's set up. And if you look around the world today, the world has now changed to basically becoming more nationalistic than in any other time in the history of the world. You check it. You go to Europe, Europeans are saying, hey, we don't want no more people coming in our country. You look at the US, same thing. You look all around the world, Britain, all of these countries. So when I say to Bahamians, I say, listen, we can do certain things, but then we have to do it in a way that basically that is beneficial to us. Mm-hmm. And as long as, and this is why I said that to the opposition, is that you have not, you criticizing the administration for not doing anything, but then you are not bringing nothing to the table to say, okay, this is an alternative that you can use. This is how government's supposed to work. Because in Parliament, this is what I always tell people, all the members of Parliament is the government. Because only them parliamentarians can make bills and pass laws, only them. So when you sit down and you say, well, I wasn't in charge, and I was like, that ain't true. Because I've heard many politicians say to me, well, you know, I was in opposition. I said, did you read your Constitution? The Constitution said any member of the Senate, any member of the Parliament can table a bill, but it must be debated, and then you go to a vote. So if any member of the Parliament, that means opposition, either side, you can do it. But now it's up to you to have the cojones to come forward and present a good idea.
Not just cojones. It ain't about bravery. It's about smarts. It's about being able to understand the appetite of people. It's about timing. It's about financial support. It's about political support. It's about community support, and being able to understand that you're doing these strategically to get to that objective. So when we look at these things, and we look at the newspaper today in the business section of the Tribune, opposition blasts Maguana Port as pre-election gimmick. The opposition's chairman is blasting the government's announcement of the public-private partnership, the PPP, to develop Maguana into a cargo or logistic hub and a cruise port, call as nothing more than a pre-election gimmick. This is designed to secure votes. Dr. Dwayne Sands told the Tribune Business that Davis administration tie up with global-led consultant group, a newly formed 100% Bahamian-owned entity, recalled memories of the failed $1.8 billion I Group project that was supposed to develop similar facilities on Maguana, as questions how the PPP can succeed in the face of similar challenges. These, he said, include the absence of necessary supporting infrastructure, such as utilities, roads, and projects. This is said involve a $300 million investment over a 5-year period in its first phase, plus a sizable workforce on the island that has barely 100 strong population. It feels oxymoronic when I hear these people say some things, you know.
Let me jump at that, Howard.
Let me finish reading it first. But I'm just saying, it feels oxymoronic. You think the Prime Minister can do all these things, and you just telling me that less than 100 people are living on the island? It don't make no sense.
No.
It don't make no sense.
Here's what I would say to Dr. Sands. That idea, I've been talking about that with friends for more than 10 years. And the reason why I've been talking about that for more than 10 years, and people say, well, oh, now someone got your idea. I said, no, it ain't my idea. It's just that something that, if you love your country, you got to now look and see how you can now create and also diversify your economy. What no one is saying in this, and Dr. Sands is not saying in this, and I don't think he understands. Maguana, the passageway, the waterway between Maguana and the Turks and Caicos is a major waterway.
That's the tongue of the ocean.
That's a major waterway, Howard. Mm-hmm. So if you now can create a container facility that will provide dockage for goods and services coming from Africa and Europe as a holding facility, instead of having you to take that long trip straight across the Atlantic into the Americas, where you got a middle hub, like the Panama Canal, that is what those guys are doing. Because I think, I don't know if it's Mr. Taylor, and somebody, I know it's a group of people who's been, I talked with a couple of people before about it, and I remember saying this to the former administration. It's a good idea, that's what you can do, because here's the thing. Maguana has the largest airstrip. It was basically a military airstrip. So you could now transfer air cargo, and if you put in a shipping thing, and which is private partnership, but I hope the government would try to get a piece of the pie, at least go halfway into it, where they would basically, like the cruise port, you own half, and then you basically put yourself in a position where that you, after so many years, you can basically own it solely and sell shares to the Bahamian public.
Well, I'm thinking to myself in the same instance that, yes, I believe that you should be able to open it up for persons to be able to buy shares in it. Yes, there should be an opportunity, but this pessimistic posture and position held by the royal opposition, I don't know whether or not it is a necessity. I don't know whether or not it is a default because they're in a position of opposition. I don't know whether or not there is this pessimism only exists because they don't expect anything to happen over the course of this administration. But this is like giving opposition to what has happened for the Rowdy Boys in Long Island. when they get the $20 million contract the other day.
Well,
You
here's the
got
thing.
to celebrate the people who
No, you know what, here's
and
what I would
move some
say.
things.
This here project and the Raleigh Boy project is totally different. And here's why I say it's totally
No,
different.
but the concept is the same.
No,
If
but
you're
here's what I'm saying
empowering
is-
Bahamian people,
This here project here, when they were sitting in government, I remember personally.
The F&M.
Yes. I personally spoke to Mr. Diagler. I said, listen, the country has basically, we've always been having, my cal has always been suffering. People who live down in that chain and neck of the woods, have always been suffering. I said, here's how you can now boost your, not only the economy of the country, but you'd also now provide some employment. And so he said, what you mean? I said, okay. For instance, with this port, right? Yes, you're gonna have to bring in some foreign people who understand, who build ports. Just like the same guys who build the cruise port, they also build container ports. So now, you're gonna use some of the land, but now here's the thing that I said to someone last year. I said, imagine if those people in Maguana, Crooked Island, and Michael, Long Key, and those places, now turn around and start to use some of their land to build cottages, where they now can now rent to those workers.
but this ain't difficult because the truth of the matter is that the PLP, and the Prime Minister spoke about it last night, the PLP has been able to give land papers of ownership to persons in Mose Island. They've done the same thing, I think, in Gambia and Fox Hill. And the Prime Minister said that they're going to all over the country and being able to do those things. 8 Mile Rock, Prime Minister. Let's be very clear. I'm from 8 Mile Rock. I got a couple of
Scared
pieces
of
of
Long Island,
I remember Long Island.
Don't come there trying to
I
build
remember
land.
8 Mile Rock, Prime Minister.
You come to Long Island to be a
I
problem.
got 3 acres of I got 3 acres of property in 8 Mile Rock. Give me the deed for that, Prime Minister. Praise Jesus.
We got over
Yeah.
100 acres in Long Island. Don't come there looking for nothing. 'cause we
No,
got
they ain't looking
nothing.
for nothing. They're giving you the deed for these particular
No,
things.
no, I
Persons
got
have
the
been
land.
living.
I got the deeds.
Well, you ain't need nothing, then
No.
you're straight.
And most people in
You
Long
could
Island
use
got-
some money to develop it.
No, I leasing.
But I ain't gonna fight you for your 30 acres. So let's be clear about this
Yes.
now. The fact is that this administration has been able to empower people, and they're seeking to empower people with legacy issues that none of the administrations prior has even touched.
I give him-
Okay?
You're right, Howard. I give him credit
Let's
for
be
that.
clear with that.
Because one thing I would
The
say with Mr.
first
Davis-
government in the sunshine didn't deal with the empowerment of the Bahamian people. When they came in, the Removable Properties Act didn't empower the Bahamian people. It caused a devastation and a twist, a turn, a spike in our society, where persons been able to, what they thought they had before, or the valuation of these particular things. Now, young people can't even afford these lands out here. The Free National Movement empowered an external standpoint. They came back with the Commercial Enterprise Bill. They continue to be able to empower from an external standpoint. The justification to these concepts is that we're always providing and finding opportunities for local people to bring monies in by being able to bring finances in our country. This is the way that they justify their means behind the things that they're doing. This is where we are in this particular concept. This has to stop, my brother. This has to stop.
See,
I'm not upset with the Free National Movement, you know.
No,
I don't believe that the Free National Movement has a vision for this country. I
That's why-
believe that they are gung-ho and googly-eyed about the concept that we will be the next general election. I am afraid for the country because you are not articulating a vision. You're not steadily moving on a consistent basis and being able to point us back to a vision that you've developed. Are you afraid Are you afraid to come up with the concept? By this time, the PLP was shopping the New Day agenda around the country. And you know that. A year before the general election, the PLP was shopping New Day around the country. The PLP had already articulated that we're going to reduce VAT. The PLP already articulated that we're going to make these things happen. And these things are laid out. Some of the things they have not gotten to. in their agenda, some of the things they have not gotten to as it relates to what needs to be done. But the PLP had a plan that they could always point you back to. They had a plan, they had a concept, they had an idea, they developed it, and they continue to be able to collectively speak with one voice about this agenda to move the country forward. The Free National Movement is fragmented even on this.
I would say this, Howard, and here's something that you said, and I don't think no one paid attention to it. Dr. Sands did talk about the 1.8 I Group $1 billion project. But here's this. These guys are basically went and get the people they need to finance this program, because this stuff was sitting there for years.
The public-private partnership concept was pronounced and enunciated in the House of Assembly under the former administration, which was the Free National Movement.
Yes. So
The Free National Movement has indicated that the government ain't got no money to do these particular things. The government is looking for public-private partnerships to forge these relationships. Diagolo was one of the 4 persons to
Yes.
be able to talk to us about that. Why do you think that we've forgotten that?
Yes.
Now you are criticizing and being able to condemn
But
the
now-
concept of public-private partnership.
I
I'm
would say
confused.
this, and this is where I tell people that people say, well, you hate it. No. There were certain members of that former administration did not want changes. That is why when I sit down, I listen and read his complaint, I was like, listen, that is a great idea. You have an island like that group of islands. I said, think about this now. You have a cargo ship. You got goods and services you need to come from Europe and Africa, now comes and dock at Maguana. You now can basically have the guys over there at Awaki can now stand at them waiting to go all the way to the U.S. and back. They can sail shorter time to Maguana, come back home in the city. It's a win-win.
All I see this is, for the most part,
win-win.
whilst there are some things that can be scrutinized, whilst
No,
there are
that-
some
yeah,
things
I
that you can
told
be able
people
to
I'm down with
identify,
that.
the fact of the matter is that we can't just complain for the sake of
No,
complaining
and
because
this
we
is
sit
why.
in the position of opposition. Some of these things will be good for the country. You're ready to run off Shark Rock. You've made a proposal and did everything to be able to create a space for Oban. Then you run off the Shark Rock project. You delayed all these particular concepts. You never sold. You buy the hotel in Grand Bahama. You didn't develop the Grand Bahama. And then the majority of these fellas, a great deal of these fellas, are coming back with this new rollout from this administration with the 17 persons in their first rollout. There is no enthusiasm about these particular things. It's 2 o'clock, my brother.
Okay.
It's 2 o'clock. I want to thank you guys so much for being able to be here with us and tuning in. Tomorrow we're going to dive deeper in with this. I see if we can bring somebody else on with me as we continue to talk about these things and chop it down. We're going to talk about the Prime Minister's position, talk about what he's brought to the forefront, talk about the VAT reduction on those particular items, talk about some of the concepts that he's brought out there, and talk about the concept and idea for a new for the general election coming up this year, whether or not we're going to be sort of a kind of hot skip and jump away from it, or if he's going to be able to pronounce it tomorrow in the House of Assembly. We're going to be back, guys. I want to thank you so very kindly for being able to be here with us. It is a beautiful day. Ladies and gentlemen, this is none other than my very good friend and good cousin, Richard Cartwright, as we continue to be able to talk about these things. I'm Howard Grant. This is The Foundation. I'll see you again next time.
I have a dream where the powerful and the powerless will sit at the same table, where the haves will see the have-nots, not as burdens, but as brothers, where class will not divide us, but conviction will unite us. I have a dream that the oligarchs will remember we must all eat, that the brown-faced neo-colonialists will remember who they are and whose they are. I have a dream that fraternities will build beyond internal architecture into a national bond, that the walls of design will give way to the bridges of brotherhood, not a fraternity of symbol, but a brotherhood of substance. I have a dream that we remain focused, that we stay in our conviction and remain fearless, that we double down, fortified, to return this Bahama land to the foundation.